I think I said at one point that the problem is the Packers do business a certain way, and Aaron is upset that they won't change that for him. And that definitely came across in that news conference yesterday. So, I mean, look, he wants to be in the conversation when they make decisions about the roster. He wanted a commitment beyond 2021, which they weren't willing to give because they drafted Jordan Love last year, and they're planning to use him next year as the starting quarterback. And then if he didn't want that, he wanted out, but they weren't going to trade him because they need him this year. So Packers going to Packer, and they continued to do it. So Aaron is now at a place where he said, look, I've made my peace with it to the extent that I need to. I'm going to be here this year, and then we'll see what happens. And, yeah, I thought it was stunning how much he actually offered.
Chris Canty is a person who played in the league a long time. What did you think?
Yeah, there's a lot of ways to describe that press conference yesterday. Peaceful would not be one of them. I think Aaron Rodgers still feels a way about how Brian Gutekunst, their general manager, has handled things, how the front office has handled him, along with how they mistreated other players. And I was impressed with the fact that Rodgers went up there with a list of players that he felt like the organization mistreated on their way out the door. I mean, he came with the receipts, and you have to respect that. You also have to respect the fact that Aaron Rodgers wants to have more influence in the organization because he didn't tell any lies when he said that Green Bay wasn't a resort destination. It wasn't a vacation destination. It's not. Like, they're signing up to come play with him and come compete for championships. So while I understand how the Packers do business, I also understand that there's a way that NFL teams do business, especially when it comes to quarterbacks and allowing them to have some say-so. And I feel like the Packers, you know, they're playing a dangerous game right now with Aaron Rodgers. 2021 they're all signed up for. We'll see what happens after that.
Louis Riddick always says it's a relationship business. And one way or another, clearly they allowed this relationship to get completely sideways. And Rodgers was extremely candid about it yesterday. Let me bring Rob Ninkovich into the conversation, who had some really fascinating perspective on this in our meeting this morning, particularly as it pertains to the experiences you had in another organization that's been even more successful, and that would be New England.
Yeah, and listen, when I listen to Rodgers and walk up to that podium and just be honest, that's what he was. He was brutally honest, and isn't that what we want? We want somebody to come up to the podium and just say exactly what happened. Usually, that's not the case. And unfortunately, Aaron Rodgers, just like every other player in the NFL, it's the hierarchy, it's the upper management, it's we have power over the players. You do what you're supposed to do, that's throw the football. You're the linebacker, go make tackles. We will make the decisions here. We'll cut the players we want to cut. We'll bring in the players we want to bring in. We're going to let go of the veterans that we want to let go because they're too old. And unfortunately, for a lot of players, we have no say. And Aaron Rodgers, all he wanted was to be heard in him saying, listen, this is our best receiver last year. Why did we cut him? And I've been in situations where, I think back to 2007, a team that was terrible in the Miami Dolphins. All I went up to the head coach and asked him was for some playing time. He looked at me and said, hey, we got the guys in here that we think are our best chance of winning. I looked at him and said, we're 0-10, right? So there are instances in the NFL where things they don't make sense, right? They don't make sense. And when you have those situations, in New England, Bill would always come up to me or a captain or a guy that he really respected and would say, hey, what do you think of this guy? What do you think of that? What do you think of this scheme? What do you think of that? And I think that there's the difference in certain organizations. They go to the beat of a different drum, and maybe that's why they're more successful, and other organizations never, ever get to a place where some are. And I do believe it's because of the way that they're run from the top down. And in this situation, we're clearly seeing that a Hall of Fame football player, all he wants is to be heard. And hey, listen to what I have to say. I'm pretty good, right? But then you have your people up in management that probably never stepped foot on a football field that say, oh, no, we got this. We're good. And you look at them like, what are you talking about, dude? You never played.
And so let me bring in one of those people, and that would be Mike Tannenbaum. And but Mike, all kidding aside, many people viewed this yesterday. This was painted in many corners as Rodgers torches Gutekunst, and he will unquestionably be gone next year. But you, from the perch at which you sit, and again, you were the GM in two different places, you saw it differently from that.
Yeah, I saw it as an opportunity. First of all, I agree with most of what's been said, which is I thought Aaron Rodgers was pure, authentic. I was blown away by the attention and detail he had with no notes going back to Charles Woodson. But if I'm Brian Gutekunst, who, let's be fair here, has done a really good job. They've got to back-to-back championship games. I now have the answers to the test moving forward. And what I mean by that specifically is when we get to the end of camp and say, hey, I'm thinking about keeping these 5 or 6 receivers. What do you think, Aaron Rodgers? And he pushes back a little bit. That gives me a better chance of keeping him in 2022, even if you don't agree with his suggestion.
Yeah. It is interesting. For the longest time, I feel like we've had people saying, I think it was Kimberly Martin who said on this show, Aaron, tell us what you want. Well, I always told them what he wants. It's up to them if they want to give it to him or not. Thank you for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.